Okay, so hopefully everybody can hear me. So we're just waiting for a couple more people to join us, I think, from the list. So we'll just hold on a second. First of all, a little bit of housekeeping. There should be a bar on the top of your screen, and it looks a bit like, hopefully on my screen now. So there'll be a little microphone icon, which if you click that, you need it to turn red to mute yourself. Just whilst I'm talking, and then we'll open up for questions at the end, and at that point you can unmute yourself and feel free to ask any questions then. It's just to make sure we don't have any background noise during the webinar. If you can just all make sure that you are muted, that would be great. The only other one of these icons that you really need to worry about is the little speech bubble up here. Hopefully you can see I'm indicating. That's a chat log. So if at any point you've got any questions, just pop it in the chat log, and I'll either answer it at the end for you or maybe in the middle if we've got a chance. Okay, so we've got a few more people joined us. So we'll start off if that's okay. So welcome to our How to Engage Young People webinar. Just a quick note, don't worry about rushing to write anything down. Hopefully we will be recording these webinars and uploading them as a video online onto our website, so that you can keep coming back to them later just for ideas. So you should have all heard of the Youth Insight Pack, which was published by Sport England in August 2014. And the Youth Insight Pack aimed to explain the behaviours of young people and look into how activity could be altered in order to meet the ever-changing needs of the young people. So Sport England's review into young people's lives found that sport needs to adapt how it presents itself to broaden its reach and increase the proportion of young people regularly participating. So key findings included that young people's behaviours don't always reflect their attitude to sport. Just because they don't already participate doesn't mean that they are not willing to participate in the future. Another key finding of the Youth Insight Pack is that many young people take part in sport or activity for more functional or lifestyle reasons. Another thing that it found is that it's also proven that sport can provoke strong emotional responses. So whilst the activity can be sport, the message that you're selling with the sport doesn't have to be. Sport often has to compete or connect with wider interests with young people. And that links with the previous point that actually young people want to provoke an emotional response from sport, and they respond well to meaningful experiences. So it is evident that the current supply of sport and physical activity appeals to those who are currently engaged, but actually for those that are currently disengaged and inactive, more needs to be done. And this is sort of the key link between the Youth Insight and Sportivate. So really we're just looking into how can you make your project appeal to those who aren't currently taking part. So, just to give a little bit of background information, according to the last set of active people survey results, there were 12.2 million inactive people within the UK, but this does include children, young people and adults. So Sport England is classifying the term inactive as an individual who does less than 30 minutes of physical activity a week, and that's actually quite a scary statistic. But within the same survey, 85% of these individuals that stated they were inactive also stated that they would like to start taking part in physical activity or sport. So therefore, we just need to find an additional offer that will suit their needs and engage them in sport. So when applying this specifically to young people, the statistics do look a little bit more promising. However, it's still only just over half of 16 to 25-year-olds are participating in sport for at least 30 minutes a week. So if we are to consider the importance of young people taking part in sport and physical activity, it's evident that there needs to be a change, and the Youth Insight looks to target exactly how we make sport and physical activity relevant to those groups who don't have, who aren't or haven't ever played traditional sports. So when we're looking at who we're looking to target through Sportivate, currently as a national priority, sort of in line with the Youth Insight, Sportivate is aiming to target all inactive young people, so those who don't currently do the 30 minutes of sport or activity once a week. However, within this, we're looking to engage harder to reach groups in Sportivate projects to increase their levels of physical activity. So a key hard-to-reach group are women and girls, and they've got significantly lower participation levels than men and boys when you make a comparison between them. So traditional sport is often seen by women and girls as sort of stereotypically masculine, and they might be intimidated to take part, and ultimately this is going to be a barrier to their participation. And even when you look at female-focused sports, these are still seen to be dominated by sort of sport enthusiasts, people that are competitive, good at sport, and are generally comfortable within the sporting environment. So if we are to engage those women and girls who aren't already playing sport, these barriers do need to be broken down. So the Sport England This Girl Can campaign is sort of flying the flag for all women and girls to get involved in sport. I'll just play you the short sort of campaign video in case any of you haven't previously seen the campaign. However, it is an absolutely great campaign that is looking to promote sport and physical activity within all women and girls of all shapes and sizes and everybody really. If it's going to load. Maybe not. Okay, I've already got it loaded up, so I will watch it from here. Hopefully you can all see that now. So I'm sure you've all probably seen the campaign before. It's been going for about a year now. From Sport England, and obviously it's really it evokes those emotional responses that I was talking about in terms of what young people want from sport and physical activity. So we are asking that any projects that are focused on women and girls sort of use the This Girl Can branding and sort of link up with that and use that as a tool to engage more people. So we'll chat through some specific actions to engage women and girls and all young people in sport in a few minutes. But just to talk about the other priority groups, so obviously all extremely hard to reach. We've got 17 to 25-year-olds. We see a big dropout in young people when they leave school. Obviously disabled people, there is a significantly lower percentage of disabled people participating in sport than able-bodied people. And again, sort of neat groups, so those who are not in education, employment or training. So these are all groups that we're trying to target, and unfortunately we don't have time to focus specifically on each of these. However, if you are considering starting a Sportivate project for next year focused on these groups, just feel free to contact me during the week or at any point, and we can chat through some options and see how you can actually look to engage those further. So now we're sort of moving on to what the Youth Insight actually says. So the first piece of insight, which relates directly back to engaging young people, is that the lives of young people are ever-changing. It's sort of common sense, but the context and environment that they've grown up in is sort of completely different to previous generations, primarily due to the increased use of technology. So some change in delivery is required to maintain levels of interest in sport amongst this new generation, because they don't separate online and offline activities, and sporting activities need to reflect this. Most sports clubs have a Twitter or Facebook account that they use to keep in contact with members, so really you should utilise these when running sessions for young people, because they respond much more effectively to a Facebook post telling them when and where to attend a session than they would do to maybe seeing a flyer or getting an email about it. So again, using young people's use of social media is a great way to promote your sessions further. Creating things like a session hashtag to spread the word about the sessions. It's a great way for young people who tend to also engage their sort of friends and social circles in sessions and get the word out to a wider audience. So technology is now such a large part of young people's lives that even something such as introducing a phone break into sessions may help to engage them. It might seem a bit silly and seem like it's taking away from the activity and sort of distract them. However, getting the young people to focus on the sport or physical activity for 50 minutes with a 10-minute technology break in between is definitely better than them doing no activity at all. And if that's the push that they're going to need to take part in the sport or physical activity, then why not? So you need to remember that these individuals aren't people who are stereotypically sporty, so you do need to include something in your offer which is going to appeal to them. So, young people's behaviour doesn't always reflect their attitude to sport. Just because an individual doesn't participate in sport or physical activity, this doesn't automatically mean that they don't want to. So we need to focus on changing behaviours, not attitudes. Does it really matter if someone's attitude towards sports is negative if they start to do it? This may influence their likelihood to continue on participating past the project. However, ultimately, it is their behaviour which needs to change. Many young people also feel positive about sport, but aren't necessarily currently looking to take part. We don't need to change their attitude. However, in order to alter their behaviour, your Sportivate projects need to be fully visible and accessible, basically creating an offer that they can't refuse. So other young people are uninterested in sport, but maybe find wider reasons to take part. So promoting the benefits that they're looking for is far more effective. Selling sport as fun might not resonate with these young people, so actually selling the functional benefits of sport and physical activity can be much more beneficial. So typically these approaches will depend on who your target group is for the project. So projects in, say, Zumba or Boxercise are typically more suited to young people who are uninterested in sport, but they still seek the benefits that come alongside it. And the Youth Insight says that functionality, so wanting the benefits, not the fun, becomes more important as young people get older. They're sort of seeking more than just fun out of sport, and they're looking for other benefits, whether that be getting fit or socialising with friends. So in these instances, deliverers need to consider what is important to the young people you're targeting, rather than what is important to the sport or to the club. For example, say offering a new netball fitness class may not help to improve participants' skill or gameplay, but it may be more appealing to young people as a non-traditional version of the game with additional fitness benefits. However, on the other hand, offering a new, fun, more social version of a netball session may become a more appealing offer to those who are positive towards sport but not currently taking part. Again, we're still offering additional benefits to a regular session. However, it is all about creating a project that they can't resist and giving them that little extra push to participate, through allowing them to create more positive associations with sport and physical activity, whether that be from a more functional or more fun perspective. It all depends on who you're targeting. So, we chatted a bit before on the first slide about the importance of providing meaningful and social experiences. So actually, today, young people have so many demands and pressures on their time, whether that be with school, friends, family, relationships, or maybe jobs. Sport can either compete with these or help to connect them. So if sport is competing and these individuals have never willingly participated in sport before, it is really unlikely that they'll maintain their participation levels for long. However, if sport does connect these interests, there is a much higher chance that after participating in, say, a Sportivate project, the young people will continue on with their participation afterwards. So essentially, you need to use your Sportivate sessions as the young people's method of socialising with friends. We talked about earlier incorporating breaks, but these could also be socialising breaks. This way, they'll think that actually they're going along to this new hockey session, say, to socialise, as opposed to having to do the two activities separately. Deliverers could provide refreshments for after the sessions to encourage the young people to stick around and stay socialise. And this again creates a meaningful experience and makes the young people feel like they're part of something bigger than just a sports session. And these experiences are what will make the difference between young people coming along to attend just one session and then maybe deciding it isn't for them, or it might be the push to make them come along every week and then continue their participation after the project has ended. Which is obviously a key factor in Sportivate. So, The Youth Insight also talks about sort of barriers to participation and why young people might not take part. And one of these is negative associations associated with sport and physical activity. So if people don't currently participate in sports, it's usually because they don't want to. And the Youth Insight Pack, again, aims to look into why they don't want to participate. So negative associations are often linked back to compulsory participation in sport through PE in schools. And if young people didn't enjoy traditional sports offered to them, they may deem themselves as non-sporty and have a sort of perceived lack of confidence across all sports. However, just because an individual doesn't like traditional sports, that doesn't mean there isn't a sport or form of physical activity out there that they would enjoy. So deliverers must think about the different offer they can create. As mentioned previously, some sports are more suited to this as they're relatively niche, such as things like fishing. However, these do have different barriers to think about in terms of making their sessions relatable to young people. Sessions in traditional sports must offer something new to the young people, as we're talking about potentially with the netball, creating social sessions or fitness-based sessions rather than just straight netball, which people who wanted to participate in would do anyway at school. So yeah, sessions in traditional sports must offer something new to young people if they want to engage those who are not currently playing. So then obviously it's all this youth insight, it's all well and good, but how do you put that into action in your Sportivate projects? So obviously we just provided a brief summary of the youth insight. The whole insight pack can be found on the main Sportivate page of our website, along with a sort of 2-page summary of the document, which is slightly more concise than the 52 pages of youth insight pack from Sport England. So looking to put the insight into action through your Sportivate projects, the most important thing is to ensure that you're designing and delivering the right experience for young people. So young people are generally seeking experiences which are sort of interactive, social, rewarding, and maybe personalised. They want to be inspired, and they want their sessions to be creative. So really, you need to create a session which suits the young people you're ultimately targeting. Think about how young people can interact with the session, whether this be through promotion through social media, inputting into session structure, or providing feedback on different drills. The most important thing is to understand that is to ensure that young people understand and feel that they are part of something bigger, providing a meaningful experience for them. So if projects are to fully engage young people, they also need to be rewarding, whether this be sort of intrinsically or extrinsically. Intrinsically, young people want those meaningful experiences that we've talked about, and that is what will make them continue to participate. However, on the other hand, extrinsic rewards always provide a little extra push for young people to continue to participate, whether this be in the form of incentives, such as free t-shirts, water bottles, and providing these incentives at the end of their block of sessions, so after they've come to, say, 6 sessions, or could you give all the participants a piece of equipment which enables them to continue participating after the sessions, and this can all be funded through Sportivate. I've seen a project before, a yoga project, where the girls came along to the sessions. They each got a yoga mat on their first week, and they had the same yoga mat for all of the 6 weeks, and if they came to all 6 weeks, they got to take the yoga mat home, and then obviously that enabled them to carry on participating afterwards. So another beneficial way of encouraging young people to continue participating after the project is to provide an easy way through to your community exit route. So could you offer, say, 3 months free membership or half-price session costs? There are lots of different options, and all will suit different projects in different ways. However, again, these can all be funded through the Sportivate funding. So the second point, those delivering the project are perhaps the most important factor when considering how to engage young people in your Sportivate projects. So the Youth Insight sort of comes up with the conclusion that the messengers, so the coaches or the people that are delivering sessions, are most influential when they're sort of trustworthy, when they're seen as experts, and when they are seen as like me. So not like me specifically, but people that they can relate to. Generally, like, would a group of inactive girls go along to a Zumba session run by a really fit and active sort of 40-something who they can't relate to? If they're not currently engaged in sport, it's unlikely that they actually will. So you need to choose your coaches wisely. Young people do want somebody they can relate to, somebody who's approachable, and somebody who'll provide them with those sort of meaningful experiences that they're seeking. So finally, the last point, It's essential that when designing a Sportivate project, you consider what it is that young people actually want. Make sure you consider their interests and sort of developmental needs, looking at what your project will actually do for them and what they will get out of it, whether that be the social element, learning new skills, or just providing fun and enjoyment. So sport and physical activity aimed at young people needs to reflect all attitudes to sport, whether these be positive, functional, or people that are completely uninterested. And Sportivate projects need to be designed with one of these groups in mind, as they all do have different needs and will need different approaches to be taken in order to successfully engage the group. So if you don't think about it, you just put a session out there without thinking about exactly who you want to target, chances are you won't really succeed in targeting any of those specific groups. If you say you target the uninterested people and you get all of your marketing out there and design your sessions exactly to suit those people, you create social sessions rather than fitness-based ones. It's all going to make it much more likely to be successful in engaging them. So I guess we've spoken about the youth insight. So now we'll just quickly go over where you need to use this in your application. So that's quite small on the screen, but hopefully you can read it. So rather than, this is basically what I've just said, rather than thinking of a project and then seeing how the youth insight fits into this, we really would recommend shaping projects around the youth insight and first investigating what young people really want. So there are two main sections of the new Sportivate Year 6 application form, which require you to use the Youth Insight Pack from Sport England and apply them to your application. So the first of which covers the evidence of demand for your project. This should evidently explain why your project is needed. As the application form says, you will need to explain how your project is new and targeting new participants. And this is where you bring in the concept of engaging inactive young people who are currently not participating. And the question how you will ensure your project is well attended by irregular or consistently inactive people is key. What are you going to do to ensure that these people who do not normally engage in sport are engaging in your project? So the second section of the application form relates to your weekly coaching session description. And then again, you're required to use the Youth Insight Pack when answering this. So you can include exactly how your session structure will appeal to young people. So we spoke about things like breaks for social media, encouraging a social environment, providing incentives for sustained participation, or reduced membership costs for the community exit route. So that's about it from me. I think that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour into the Youth Insight. To do the application form, if you've got any questions at any point, just let me know. The last thing that I wanted to end on is a video that Sports Coach UK brought out earlier this year. It's called What Makes Your Session Unmissable for Young People, and it's aimed at sports coaches, and it basically sums up what the Youth Insight Pack is saying in a easy to watch video. So let me just put some. So yeah, that was just a short video that Sports Coach UK made in collaboration with Sport England, obviously based on the Youth Insight Pack. I think it actually really nicely sums it up in sort of a easy, in a easy to sort of understand and a visual way, I guess. So you can find that just by going onto YouTube and putting in how to make your sessions unmissable. So just in case you want to forward it onto any of your coaches or anybody that you think it might be relevant to. So other than that, that's about it from me. I'll sort of stick around for a few minutes in case anybody wants to ask any questions. And if not, feel free to contact me at any point by email or by phone. Yeah, and I'm sure I will. Just a quick note, I know a few of you did attend the Youth Insight workshops webinars as well, but some of you didn't. So we are recording these and hopefully putting them up onto the website in the next week or so. So I'll circulate an email with all the links to those if anybody is interested. Again, feel free to sign off if you're done and don't have any questions. I'm having issues at the moment seeing the chat bar. It won't let me open it. So if you do have any questions and you don't mind sort of unmuting yourself and speaking in front of everybody, then feel free. But if not, obviously you can give me a call in the office tomorrow or drop me an email at any point. Okay, thank you.